And I see that the recording has started. Great. And I see there are people in the chat, excuse me. Great. So I will be taking some pauses to answer questions. We'll also answer questions at the end, but you can use the chat. Jackie will be in there to answer some questions, and if something she feels should be, talked about, she'll interrupt me, and we'll do that. So we're going to get started now. So first, I would just want to draw your attention to the left side of the screen there. That is our new campaign tagline, Your Gift, Their Future, and that's our new logo theme mark with the tagline with the blue CFC over it. And that is a resource that will be available to you if you want to tag it onto things. And now we can get started. All right, so this year's campaign, if you have not heard already, the window is a little different from previous years. It's shorter. The pledge portal opened on September 11th. It's open now, so donors can go in and make a pledge. It will remain open for pledges until December 31st. That will be the final day at which anybody can make a pledge. Please put yourself on mute. I'm hearing feedback from somebody. Can you please put yourself on mute? Okay, can we please? Thank you, whoever that was. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, everybody should be on mute unless you're actually asking a question. Thank you. All right, so the last date at which anybody can pledge, as I said, is December 31st. The pledge system will close at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. The official solicitation period begins tomorrow, October 1st. So the portal is open for donors to make a pledge, but the official date in which anybody can do campaign activity, start sending messages, start promoting events, things like that, is tomorrow. The cfcgiving.opm.gov, that is the official link to the pledge portal, and anybody can use that, but we have a much easier way that is simpler for people to get to, which is on our website, and we're going to show you that in this presentation. And congratulations to the person I see on the chat who already made their pledge today. Thank you. All right, so let's start with what the CFC is and what it's not. So CFC is a workplace giving program. And workplace giving programs are not unique to the federal government. You find them in all branches of government, actually, as well as in the private sector. Many companies, corporations have this. It's basically a place where employees can make charitable donations through their workplace, usually using payroll deduction. So it's not a federal grant program. The CFC, those of us, the contractors, we do not apply for some type of grant money in order to facilitate this campaign. The campaign is paid for by the charities that participate. They pay fees, application fee, listing fee, and that is what facilitates the cost of this campaign. It's the same as any charity has administrative fundraising costs. They vary based on what the charity's mission is and what kind of costs they have. But those that join the campaign, often being a part of this larger entity, offsets those costs. So for a lot of those smaller local charities, this is a way for them to fundraise that is very cost effective for them. It's voluntary, so we do not coerce, we do not encourage any type of coercion. People do not have to participate in any way if they do not want to. But the only way people can make a decision is if they know that it's happening. So we try to get the awareness out. CFC has thousands of vetted participating charities. This year we have 4,562, I believe, but it's definitely 4,560 plus. And again, this is not appropriated funds. This is not part of the federal budget. The facilitation is paid for by the fees that those 4,500 plus charities paid to be a part of this campaign. And it's a benefit to federal employees, the same way that, they can do payroll deduction for these charitable donations, the same way that they pay their union dues, they get distributions to their IRAs and annuities. It functions very much like that. This is in no way giving money to the government. This is money that is given to the charities. They pay to be a part of this campaign, and then the donations that are raised go back to them. Any questions about that? Any questions about what CFC is and what it's not? Okay, I see a question in the chat here from Emma, and yes, there will be items and so forth. Uh, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in this presentation. All right, so now that we've talked about what CFC is, why choose it? There's a lot of different ways people that can engage and give to charities. Why choose the CFC? Well, the first reason is all the charities in the CFC have been vetted so that you can trust that they are a legitimate charity and that the money is going where they say it is. Every year, charities have to apply. Does not matter how many years they have participated previously, they must apply every year. They must be approved every year. Part of that approval includes them showing their compliance with the IRS and nonprofit status, their filings with the IRS, and audits that contain some type of tracking of where all the money is going. Another benefit is the payroll deduction. You can't get that if you work for the federal government with any other program, only through the CFC. And we know from studies that people who give via payroll deduction often give more generously because they're just taking a few dollars out every pay period. You hardly miss it by the time you get your paycheck, and that adds up over the course of a year to a larger donation rather than forking out that large donation out of your pocket all at once. You can pledge volunteer hours through the CFC as well as or in lieu of funds. It's anonymous giving. You do not have to share your information with the charity so that you're not being hounded for further solicitations throughout the year. In fact, charities who participate with the CFC do sign as part of the agreement participating that they are not going to hound people who do share their information. That if you decide you want to share your information, that is strictly for the purposes of a thank you or for them to send you a newsletter of what kind of activities they're doing, but they are not allowed to further solicit you throughout the year. And you can pledge annually. So you pledge at the beginning of the year, or the end of the year, I should say, for the next year, and you are covered for the entire year. And I think we can go on to, yep, thank you, Catherine. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the resources that are going to be available to you this year to help with promoting this year's campaign. The givecfc.org is our website, and that is probably one of the best resources for you. And we're going to show you in the next slide what that homepage looks like. So this is a part of the homepage, and I just draw your attention to the donate button there on the right. That is probably the most familiar and easy way that people get to the pledge portal. They can just click that donate button and it takes them to the OPM giving site. For many of you, what you're going to be interested in is the tab in the middle at the top here on the left, which is the campaign workers. And then it will bring up that blue menu where you can click on the one arrow showing you to the resources, which are where the materials that you can download and use will be. There are, we are still in the process of loading things. Most items are there, but you may find there, you go there and it says, oh, this is here, but you can't click on it. It's coming. All right. Also the virtual charity fair. This, if you're not familiar with it, this is where charities that are participating have the opportunity to send in a video and upload it. All these videos are 508 compliant and they are 60 seconds or less. It's a great way to encourage some charity engagement. If you're sending an email out about the campaign, you could always include a link to one of the videos. If you're doing a small presentation, maybe at a team meeting, they're giving you 2 minutes to talk about CFC, you could play one of these videos. As I said, they're all 60 seconds or less. I just want to check the chat here. Okay, so somebody has asked about the cause of the week timeline this year. So we are not having causes of the week this year. and that nor are we having that timeline. If you are interested in doing that, and your administration is on board with that, you can certainly do that, and we have some resources. But we will not be sending out weekly cause of the week messaging this year. There are plenty of items here that are related to charity missions and so forth, but we've kind of moved away from the cause areas. I'm just checking. I'm not seeing any other questions here, so I think we can probably, Catherine, move on to the next slide. So some of what is going to be available to you on the website, there are some display posters, there's flyers. Everything that is on there is downloadable. You can use it digitally, but you can also print it out. It will print out to an size of a regular sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, so you don't need any special sizing and so forth to print items. Some other things that are there are impact statements, and these are really a great resource. This year, they have really expanded this, which excites me. Donors love these. These are those statements that say, oh, for $5, that can, pay for something that a charity does. It does not give you the name of the charity, but it certainly covers what their mission is. There's a whole load of them covering a whole range of dollar amounts. A lot of them are what I call low-level giving that, reinforce that idea that donations do not have to be large to be meaningful. And this year, they're tied to some type of image that fits in with our theme. So you've got a complete graphic there that's small that you could stick in a message, um, or send out. Excuse me, allergy season is coming. The impact statements are a complete graphic that has both the statement and the graphic with it, with the logo. They are a great thing to tag onto a message. If you're somebody who likes to change and puts different things about CFC in your signature line, you could include one in your signature line each week. There are quite a few this year. They're very impactful. The donors really seem to like them. Other things that you can do this year, if you want to promote the CFC besides the messaging, is maybe you have the ability to have an informational table set up in a high traffic area, or you could potentially have some type of CFC event. All of them are good ways to promote the campaign. All right, I'm seeing a question in the chat about, is the deadline the same for both paper and electronic pledges? I'm going to say yes, because I haven't heard anything further about if they will accept paper pledges beyond December 31st. So I would assume that they at least have to be postmarked by the 31st until we hear differently. All right, let me just see what else has come up in the chat. Yes, I understand what you're saying, Stephen, about the causes. But again, there are resources that relate to those missions that you will still be able to use, okay, as well as the impact statements. Go and check out the impact statements, everybody who's looking for causes. I think you're going to find a lot of what you're looking for there, okay? So about events. So I know that many of you have events that, for whatever reason, you don't include charities. That is the same as always. You would get your approval from your leadership ethics to have your event. But for those of you who are going to have charities, the method in which you would request them has changed significantly this year. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. So for everybody who's here on this training, I assume most of you work with somebody on the LFT team, your APM, that's what we call ourselves. You should get in contact with them if you're planning to have an event that is going to involve charities, because they are going to be your absolute best resource. They're going to know you, your office, and be able to discuss your needs and to help you get charities that you want. This year, the decision was made that campaign managers could do outreach to the charities themselves. And so what your APM will do is, after you tell them what kind of criteria for your event, they will give you a list of charities that who are participating this year, but have also agreed to do events. and you will be able to then send invites from that list. The list will be filtered to meet your criteria. So, for example, if you're having a virtual event, and you don't really care about what type of mission area the charities are in, you may get a very large list. But if you're having an in-person event and maybe you want to highlight charities that are dealing with animal welfare, we can filter the list that show those charities. We can filter the list to only charities that are in your metropolitan area or your zone or your zip code. All right, it depends on what your needs are. You will then be able to send an invite to charity or charities, depending on how big your event is. And you can create your own invite, or you can get a template invite from your APM. Again, work with your APM. And I see the question here, Miriam. APM stands for Associate Program Manager. You'll work with your APM about your invite because you might take the template and want to customize it, and they might be able to make suggestions of things that you should probably put on there as you send them out to charities. Once you've sent out your invites and charities start to RSVP and say that they are willing to come and participate in your event, you'll want to work with them to prepare for your event. So if you are having a virtual event, you are going to have a technical rehearsal. This is where you're going to send the charities the meeting link that you're using, and you're going to make sure that they can all come in, be seen and heard. Because the worst thing in the world is that on the day of your event, the charities can't get into your meeting because of security issues that are surrounded by your agency, or one particular person doesn't understand how to unmute themselves. So you always want to have a short technical rehearsal ahead of time. If you're having an on-site event, then you're going to want to liaise with your charities to make sure they know the address, where they can park, what type of items can they or can they not bring into the event? What other requirements are there in terms of getting through security? What kind of security do you have? What kind of ID do they need to present? I'm doing an event working with a group right now. They have a requirement on what kind of footwear you are allowed. It's actually quite rigid into the facility. And so anybody that agrees to come has to say that they will comply with the footwear. They will not be allowed in. So any of those little quirks, those you want to make sure once charities agree that they know what's expected, because the worst thing is they show up and they can't get in. After you've had your event, you'll want to utilize, we have an online form to report and let us know so we can report to OPM about this year's activities. And it's a fairly easy form to fill out that lets them know that you had an event and what charities came and what you did, etc. This is not in terms of you getting permission. You're going to have done that already before you have the event. This is so we can report what kind of activities happened each month. And of course, when inviting charities, it's important that you try and be equitable and fair. Consider using a free random number generator to help you in the selection of the charities that get to come to your event. All right, I see a lot of stuff on the chat. Let me just have a look and see what's here. Also, are there any other questions in the audience about events? And I'm just reading this person's comments here. Yes. Okay. So somebody in the chat is saying that this is going to be challenging with you handling inviting charities, and of course, with the looming threat of a potential shutdown. Let's hope that doesn't happen. We recognize all of that. Again, work with your APM in terms of planning and getting charities. They are going to be your best resource to assist you, and they are there specifically to assist you. Another question I'm seeing here, when will the paper pledge form be available to us? Paper pledge forms are available now. They are on the website and you can download them at any time. And there's complete instructions there for how to handle them and fill them out. Make sure, because everybody who is here, unless there's somebody here who shouldn't be, should be using the general pledge form. There is a specific pledge form for people who work for the Postal Service. But if you're working for the Postal Service and you're here, you need to contact me immediately after this because Postal does their own training. We had the first one this morning, and they would prefer that you attend their training. All right, Stephen is asking, will OPM potentially extend the campaign end date in the event of a shutdown? The answer is we don't know. I would not count on it, though. And will APMs be working in the event of a shutdown? Jamie, Sam, does anybody want to take that one? I'm not sure I know the answer to that.
Rachel, I can step in and...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Jim. We haven't had full guidance. Usually we are limited on, as OC, on the amount of work that we can do. We're usually able to support agencies that are active. Those that are on furlough we're not able to, but that is all pending guidance from OPM. So if there is a shutdown, then we will receive direct guidance from OPM, and then from that point we can push out more information.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. I get, we had this morning as well in Postal. People were asking a lot of questions about this and they kind of wanted to dodge them. But obviously, since it's supposed to take place tomorrow, I get why people are asking. So, as soon as we know, we will, of course, communicate that with you. All right, about events. Are there any questions here before we move on? Okay. Then, Catherine, I think we can go to the next slide. So somebody was asking about messaging in the chat earlier. So this year, because of the shortened campaign window, Miriam, you're going to find the answer to your question. How do you know who your APM is at the end of this presentation? Because we're going to show everybody to you what departments they're working with and their emails. So just hang on. All right, so we've shortened the amount of emails there are because the campaign is shorter. And these are suggested. These are templates. They are on the website. And they are not wedded to the dates that are here. You're going to follow whatever your leadership is saying you are allowed to do in terms of messaging. But for example, many of you may not be kicking off tomorrow, but you may want to use the intro email on whatever date you do. Not everybody's going to send the October reminder email. Some of you might want to send it a week after your intro email. You have that flexibility. You have the flexibility to send more emails than this if that's what you want to do. You can send less. You can take these emails and completely rewrite them to suit your needs. You can write your own. The only two that are kind of wedded to their dates, obviously, are Veterans Day and Giving Tuesday. All right, so these are here as a suggestion. Go take a look at them, see what's there. They're all there already on the website. Download them. There's a lot of, there's some stuff there that'll be helpful to you even if you are planning to write your own. All right, so we thought we always like to incorporate something fun, and we know with the looming shutdown, people may be feeling a little anxious. So we wanted to have something fun and we wanted to tease something that's coming up in the campaign. So these are the canine companions of some of your LFT members. And we would like to ask you, who do you think's got CFC based on their photo? And Jackie is putting their names in the chat, and all you have to do is hit like. Which one do you think has the most CFC? All right, so we'll give people a moment to do that. All right, and then we'll see who the winner is. Can I vote for all of them? I guess you can. But here is this is fun. But here is a good way for people to promote the CFC. If you have animal lovers or if you have a lot of pet owners in your office, maybe get them to submit some type of photo like this. Doesn't have to be, the spirit of CFC. Maybe it'll be, costumes or something else that you come up with as a theme, and get people to have a fun vote at a meeting or whatever. Okay. Jackie, do you think? Oh, wait, people are still voting. Okay. Jackie, when you think you have some number, let us know. Okay. And
It's
I'm
very
seeing,
close between Rock and Izzy, I have to say.
okay. All
I
right,
think
we'll give it
Rock is
another.
winning, actually. Well, yes. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Let's
All
do a
right. Well,
tie, Rock and Izzy.
Rock and Izzy, they're tied. Okay. Okay. Well, that's fun. All right. And I see here somebody has said that they do a pet sweater contest at their facility, which is a fun virtual competition. A pet sweater contest. That sounds interesting. I couldn't get a sweater on my dog. He's too big. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for voting. We hope that was fun. It's a great little teaser to show you something that is going to be happening where everybody can participate, everybody who has pets. Is the CFC National Pet Photo Contest. And this, I believe, is a costume competition, and there are some categories. It's due to begin on October 27th. There will be an email in which you can submit your photos. So look for an email from your APM that's going to have further details. I believe it's going to be about a week in which people will be able to submit their photos. The photos will be showcased on the CFC Facebook page. People will be able to vote, I assume through Facebook, and then they will announce winners. All right. All right, let's move on. Okay, so we've had our moment of fun. Now we'll talk about how can people make donations. So the ways in which people can donate, we have the online giving, which is usually people using their computer most often at work. We still have paper pledges for those who are kind of wedded to their paper pledges. Again, I saw somebody asking about it, but I would imagine most people who are here at this training, you are not using paper pledges. That's pretty much almost exclusive to the Postal Service. But as I said, those instructions and the pledge forms are on the website. And anybody can go there, download the pledge form, follow the instructions, and send it in. We have the mobile giving app. You can download it from anywhere that you get your apps for free. Basically, the mobile app is the online giving system in mobile app format. So you can do all the same things there. Text to donate. This is something we came out with about 3 years ago. It is a easy, simple way in which to make a one-time donation. The only thing about the text to donate is you cannot track those donations to your office because it does not ask the donor what department and agency they're with. They are only allowed to put what zip code they're on. So if you're looking at the pledge report, those appear at the bottom and you can see the amount that was given, but it just gives a zip code. I understand people like to have accurate pledge reporting. You like to see how much was given in your particular office. Agencies and departments overall like to look at that. But I would not hinder promoting the text to donate if that's what's going to get somebody to donate, because remember, it's about giving to charity more so than we can report out how many donations were given in our office. Payment methods for making your donation, we also offer a wide variety of those. There's payroll deduction, of course. There's ACH, which is, an electronic bank draft from your checking or your savings account. You can do that as a one-time or you can do it monthly. Credit debit cards also can be done one-time or monthly. There's PayPal. Venmo is an option with the online system and the giving app. And if they're using a paper pledge form, the only options are to write a physical check or do payroll deduction. All right. Any questions about the ways in which people can donate? It's fine that you moved on to the next slide, Catherine, because I'm not seeing that. Okay, somebody has asked, how do donors pick the receiving charity when donating via text? They get the search feature. They can look. There is like a search feature for them to do the charity, figure it out. Okay. All right, so just an overview of using the online system. Basically, donors will go and log on. If they're returning, they'll just easily log back into their account. If they're a new donor, they're going to have to create an account within the pledge system as well as the login.gov. Login.gov is an added layer of security OPM added 2 years ago. But again, both only take about 2 minutes to set up, and then they'll be able to get right into the pledge system. First time anybody logs in, whether they're new or returning, they'll be taken to the profile page. New users will, of course, have to fill out the profile page. Returning users, it's asking, do you need to update anything? We're going to talk more about that in a moment. Then donors would get to choose their charities. We're also going to talk about that more in a moment. And then finally, they will go and make their pledge. They will decide, are they doing a payroll deduction, a one-time, a monthly, how much money they're giving? Are they doing volunteer hours? And they can allocate that to the charity or charities that they are pledging to. So if we talk for a moment about the profile page. So donors have to fill this out. They have to fill out the profile page, and a returning donor has already filled it out. They may need to update their information, which has been a challenge to get people to do. But the reason we are concerned with the profile page is this is where we pull information that we then put on the pledge report to you. So the two items that are most important for pledge reporting purposes are the first arrow, which is the zip code. And they would prefer that it's the zip code of the physical office. And this, of course, became very challenging during the pandemic when, more and more people were remote and their physical office was in their home. Now, most people have returned to the office, and therefore they are probably more likely to choose that zip code. However, there are some of you I know that are 100% remote. And if you were going to the physical office, what zip code is that? Even if it's not in the same state or county that you're in. The second item there after the zip code, the second arrow, that is pointing to the 6-digit CFC office code. So every office in the federal government has its own unique pledge code. And by putting that in, it avoids the donor having to scroll through the 3 drop-down menus there, which are department, agency, and office, or what we call the DAO. Now, they're welcome to use those 3 drop-downs, but you're scrolling through the entire federal workforce across the country. So having the pledge code easily populates that for you. And again, this is how we can report what's been pledged to your office from that DAO selection and the zip code. The other items that are here on the pledge page, the profile page, something new is on the right side are all of those opt-in boxes. So if donors would like to share their information with charities, they can do so here. Particularly if they're volunteering, there's an option there, do you want to share your information with any charities that you're volunteering with? Again, you do not have to opt in for anything. But if you want to, here is a place where you can check those boxes off. And then once they have completed their profile, we can move on to the charity search feature. This works really well. This is how people can search by a whole variety of criteria. They can type in the exact name. They can type in a partial name. Maybe they don't know the name. Perhaps they want to see what's available locally. They can search by their zip code, their state, their city. They can look by category. So maybe they want to pick somebody who works with veterans or something that's in the education field or a soup kitchen. They can search by all of that criteria. And this works really well. It's almost like online shopping. When you find the charity or charities you want, you click on them and it puts them in that little shopping cart that's right there at the top on the right. And when they're ready, when they've chosen all their charities, they can click on the shopping cart and that takes them to where they actually create and submit their donation. On the right side here is if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, they now have a lot of these search criterias for that as well. You can search by activity area, like if you're looking particularly to volunteer with a charity that, maybe does something with housing and shelter. But the first menu item there where it says select volunteer activity is actually what type of volunteer opportunity are you looking for in terms of, is this a solo? Just you are going to do this? Is it a group activity? So maybe you're getting together with your colleagues for a one-time volunteer opportunity. That seems to be very popular the last few years. Are you looking for skilled? So, we always emphasize there are a lot of skilled volunteer opportunities out there and unique ones that, maybe you're using the skills that you use in your job. Maybe they're the skills you use for some hobby you have. There's a lot of interesting things out there. If you're interested in horses, for example, there's a number of those types of charities that are looking for people to help come and groom, feed them, exercise them, stuff like that. I know of a particular organization that if you have a license to cut hair, they're looking for that. There's other things for coaching all types of kids' sports, or, if you have skills with web design and so forth. There's all kinds of unique opportunities out there. It's not simply what people think of like picking up trash, which it needs to be done. Don't get me wrong, but there's interesting opportunities out there if you're looking for something. All right, any questions about anything that we've talked about, the pledging or anything else? All right, well, I told you that I would show you who your local fundraising team was and their departments with their emails, and here they are. So if you didn't know who your LFT member is, it's here. And just in case, because we know that this training was posted to the big website, there may be some of you on here, maybe who are not actually part of the local fundraising team. Maybe you're actually with the DoD, or maybe you're part of the headquarters offices. And if you don't know who your contact is, I would reach out to Jamie McKenna. She's the senior program manager, and she can get you to the correct person. All right, I am seeing a question here. Will there be a Power BI report like last year? Yes, you can request those types of reports from your APM. Any other questions? Right. Well, we thank everybody for participating today. And we hope we have a great, you all have a great campaign. We're looking forward to helping you, be successful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For anybody who wants this PowerPoint, ask your APM. You can get it. We have awards. I do not know if there's going to be an actual ceremony, Caroline.